everybody. It's Jeff here from JazzWire. Welcome to the guided listening. So, of all the guided listenings I've done over the last year or more, I don't know if I've ever done anything on Stan Getz, which is a huge oversight, one of the all-time most important tenor saxophone players, one of the great bebop players. We can go on and on about how important Stan Getz was to so many eras of jazz and genres of jazz. So as I was deciding, let's do some Stan Getz, the question is like, good Lord, what is it going to be? And I had zeroed in on a couple of them, but I kept coming back to one of the first times that Stan Getz really kind of freaked me out and knocked my socks off. Fantastic album, Oscar Peterson Trio with Stan Getz, or featuring Stan Getz, something like that. Stan is, I want to say, 31 years old on here, and a fantastic recording. I picked the song, I Want to Be Happy. And before we jump into this, I want to let you know, inside JazzWire this week, we always have three communities. The blue community, more advanced, the red community, the intermediate folks, the green community, folks who are newer to jazz. And so we have three fantastic lessons, as we always do every week. In the green community, we're working on an etude I wrote on the song My Shining Hour, and I'm talking about how to sight read. What are the strategies for learning to be a better reader? So if that's interesting, take the free trial. We're working on the Horace Silver tune Nika's Dream. That was the last guided listening I did last week. And so we're talking about a very interesting way to think about the harmony of all songs. And Nika's Dream is a great way to talk about it. So that's the red community lesson. In the blue community, we're just starting the Miles Davis, Bill Evans song Blue in Green, and talking about the harmonic areas of that tune. If this is interesting, take the free trial. The great thing about the free trial is how free it is. 30-day free trial. See what we do inside JazzWire, all the lessons that I and the rest of the faculty are doing, and the incredible interactions that people are having. Okay, I Want to Be Happy. So I was at North Texas. I ran across this album. Someone told me I had to buy it. I buy it. I'm listening to it for days, weeks, and I'm talking to one of my buddies, and I'm like, man, Oscar Peterson's Trio is killing, and Ed Thigpen on the drums, like, oh my God, it's so swinging. And my buddy looks at me, he's like, dude, Ed Thigpen isn't on the drums. I'm like, oh, who is it? Is it Grady Tate? Or he's like, dude, there is no drummer on that album. And I laugh. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. That is the most swinging album of all time. And he's like, yeah, there's no drums. And I'm like, shut up. And so I go home. There's no drummer on the album. Oscar Peterson on piano, Ray Brown on the bass, Herb Ellis on the guitar, Stan Getz. There's no drums. I listened to this thing for weeks. So first of all, I'm an idiot, okay? So moving past that. But it is so swinging. The rhythm is so intense. One could forgive me for thinking there's a drummer on there. Check this out. All right. So it's this great, kind of a simple show tune in a nice kind of fluid key of F concert. I think it is. I haven't played it in a long time. And Stan is just killing. He takes two different solos. And I thought, oh man, he's playing some kind of nice stuff. Let me just, sit down and grab a couple of those things. And I go to start playing along, and I can't do it. Like, he's playing so fast, so clean. He makes it sound so effortless. It's like, oh yeah, I should act in a movie. Because, Glenn Close makes that look pretty easy. I'll just go ahead and act in a movie too. Yeah, no, it's harder than they make it look, right? So, So that was another lesson, like, oh my God, he is playing so great, so light, such fantastic lines, floating, swinging, intense, but not anxious. And it's like, I was just shocked at how hard it was. So maybe that's exhibit 2 for Jeff being a knucklehead. Let's get into this. We'll listen a little bit. I want to talk about Herb Ellis's comping. I want to talk about Oscar Peterson laying out a little bit. Ray Brown and his incredible drive, and then all the fantastic stuff Stan's playing. Let's check it out. Nice little intro, and you can hear Oscar stamping his foot a little bit. It's cool. It sounds like like a drummer on brushes. Herb. He's comping, and you can hear him sort of bringing out the 2 and the 4, like the hi-hat. Ray Brown in a 2 feel, just playing half notes. And it's going by 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, that is marching along. Holy cow. And check out Oscar. Oh wait, no Oscar. This is trio. Bass, guitar, saxophone. No piano. Woo! Those little... So Herb is playing 4 on the floor. It's like jack, 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 jack. Right, so he's strumming all 4, but then he's adding great comping around that. And how connected the guitar and the bass are. It's like one instrument. Is this Stan's second chorus? I think it is. And there's Oscar sneaking in. He's finally in. And just adding the piano, it's subtle, but it takes it to another level, doesn't it? Energy-wise. And let's listen to Stan. He does a lot of call and response with himself. Right back then, when I said let's listen to Stan, he was doing one of those things. Let's see what he does coming up here. He's now 8 measures into that idea. He does a lot of that, playing an idea for 2 measures and then repeating it. There it is. Right? Stan comes back, plays another solo, longer solo. We're going to hear a ton of that. 2 measures, answering it. Oscar. And that incredible light but driving feel he had. Good Lord. And listen to the guitar and bass behind him. It's a machine. Oh my God, it's a freight train, right? Listen to how dramatic Oscar is with his accents, how hard he hits the accents and how far back he comes. So much like a horn player, so much air, you know, he's hitting those notes. Almost overdriving the mic a little bit, right? Woo! You hear how big the volume differences are between his accents and those ghosted notes. It's colossal. That's where the swing's coming from. Pedal tone there in the piano. Kind of sustains that feel. And he goes over the phrase line. That's so interesting. He started that 4 from the end of the chorus and kept it going into the next one. So that's kind of a cool, more modern thing to do, to obscure the form like he did. And always the blues with Oscar, right? Always these elements of blues as he's playing this incredible gospel bebop thing that he does. 3 guys, no drums. It's astounding. And those moments when Herb Ellis leaves the 4 on the floor, plays some different rhythmic stuff, boosts it a little bit because of the cool rhythms, but then when he goes back to the 4, it boosts it again. Amazing. Here comes Stan. Right? Did you hear him repeat that line? Repeats a line. Plays something, plays it a second time. mostly on the A sections. On the bridge right here, he runs with the changes. But usually it's at the beginning of the A sections. So here comes the top of the tune. There he is, repeating that idea. How he stretches that idea out. Bridge. There he is, repeating that rhythmic idea. There he is, repeating that. This is so intricate what he's playing. It's incredible. That idea going for 4 measures, does that a lot. Right? Played it, answered it. That quote, I think the tune is We, Denzel Bass, is that who it was? And he quoted that a little earlier on in the solo too. Cool quote. And Ray Brown back into that nice bouncing 2 feel that he has. You can hear how these guys can create so much energy and then sort of bring it back for the melody. This is a little ending they came up with. Yes, amazing stuff. And technique, chops. Who do you want to name? Who do you want to name? Johnny Griffin, Bird, Train. Nobody had anything more than Stan when he was doing this stuff. He was absolutely one of the all-time great bebop players on any instrument. When I got to know about Stan Getz, in the 80s, and I'm learning about jazz as a young guy, and jazz kind of sounds a little old and a little dopey to me because I'm used to listening to, LA produced funk and that kind of stuff. And I just kind of knew him as an old guy that played bossa novas or something, right? And sort of dismissed him because that's the only era I knew about. I hadn't heard this stuff and his bebop playing. And so when I got woken up as to what's going on with Stan Getz, like, oh yeah, nobody was playing any more saxophone than Stan Getz. And then that sound, of course, his nickname was The Sound because he had that amazing sound kind of coming out of Lester Young and that sort of lighter sort of sound that he had, all through his career. Beautiful, emotional, all that stuff. If you know anything about Stan Getz, bit of a tricky human being, but we're not going to talk about that today. But there's some great books and, quite a life anyway. That recording is so wonderful. If you don't have that recording, that's absolutely one of my desert island recordings, the Oscar Peterson Trio with Stan. They do so much wonderful stuff and ballads and, tunes and blues and show tunes and everything like that. Stan Getz was, I want to say 100% Ukrainian. I'm 100% Ukrainian. I'm from Canada, but he was Ukrainian, so I kind of dig that. Oscar Peterson, 100% Canadian. I'm 100% Canadian. So it's like Oscar and Stan Getz and me, just like that. Yeah, cool. Let's leave it there. What a wonderful recording. So Stan Getz, we can't say enough about Stan Getz. There will be more guided listening on Stan Getz, but very often with these guided listenings, I try to get into the rhythm section. I made such a big deal about Stan Getz, but we talk some about Stan, but there's all the things going on underneath the name. Hey, here's John Coltrane, here's Freddie Hubbard, here's Michael Brecker, but the things going on underneath that allow them to make the decisions they make, that allow them to float and burn and do all those things they're doing. Understanding, listening down, listening in is interesting. So I hope you're enjoying that aspect of what we do. And I really hope you take a 30-day free trial and see what's going on with Jazzwire. We have helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people from 25 different countries. There is no better investment you can make in your playing and in yourself than to join us inside Jazzwire. And you can find out that I'm telling you the truth for free. All right, y'all. I'll see you inside. See you next week.